Start recording. Okay, welcome everyone. Today I'm honored to sit down with Marion Hedger, a British psychic whose work is rooted in depth, discipline, and integrity, the kind that doesn't need spectacle to be felt. You may recognize her from The Real Housewives of New York City or the intimate documentary Look Into My Eyes. And her insights have been featured in the New York Post and the Village Voice. What makes this conversation especially meaningful to me is that Marion is also one of my teachers from Holistic Studies Institute in New York City. Someone I had the pleasure of meeting with and learning from directly, and she's currently working on bringing the Institute back into operation because real training and ethical foundations still matter. And
10,000%.
yes. Yeah, it's all about perception, responsibility, and doing the work the right way. So welcome, Marion. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Now, I mean, it has been possibly almost 20 years. Like it's probably around 18 years since I met you because it was, I believe, 2009.
Wow. So that's 16 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That is
16 years. And here we are once again. Wonderful.
Where's the time gone? I know it's a cliche, but where has it gone?
Oh, I know. But you know what? I've been dying to hear your story. I just want to start first with like early life and your first awareness of your abilities. So, you were born and raised in the UK, right?
I was born and raised in the UK. Things were a little bit different for women and young girls in those days. It was the 50s. And I think, as I recall, my father's intent for my sister and I, he wanted us both to grow up and marry a bank manager.
Wow.
So, since the whole idea of marriage has never been something that has appealed to me, I always was the odd one out. I remember being described as flamboyant, even though I was very quiet and very shy, but I was very, very badly bullied in school. And I'm told by my still best friend, because I was different or a little bit unusual, and maybe the psychic abilities had sort of kicked in at that time. My heritage goes back to Lord North, Prime Minister of England during the Revolutionary War. And actually, if you see pictures of he and I, early pictures, you can see the similarity.
Can I just add that I did look him up and it's so wild. You have the same face, you're just like feminine,
It's the lips and the eyes. It's exactly the same. You're right.
Exactly. And by the way, do you mind if I put his picture up in app post edit? Okay, great. Okay, tell me more.
Well, I haven't really taken a deep dive back that much. I do know a little bit of the story. My great aunt, whom on my father's side, all of these people, who I very much we looked like twins. She passed when I was about 16, but I do know there were psychics in that side of the family. And there were on my mum's side too, but I sort of equate to my father's side a bit more. I think I'm much more like my father's side, not just in looks, but in temperament. And too, that when you grow up and you move to, I'm very much one for spending some part of your life in another country because I believe you grow and you learn more things. And when I came here, it was because of a man, isn't it always? And, when I came here, I loved being here. I used to take the bus to Times Square just to watch the traffic and the people because it was just lovely. And I got my green card in the lottery, the green card lottery. Got a job at the British
Wow.
consulate. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a whole story for another time because it was a very, very, very big deal. I hand wrote 2,000 applications for the green card lottery and took a week off work and sat on the post office steps, the big post office, and between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. and got as many into as many bags, mail bags as I could. Then I got picked out.
Wow.
So
Wow.
instead of doing all this work, what I call left-brained work, because I had a very high speed in written steno, was 160 words a minute, and that was a big deal. So I got my job at the consulate, and then I got a job at the UN. But it's sort of one of those things where you know you're good at your job, but can you see yourself doing that in another 40 years? So I
Wow.
know that sort
You
of
worked at the UN?
oh yeah, the
I
office
never
of
knew
the
that.
legal counsel. Oh yeah, the office of the legal counsel. It was for a year. Um, Nice people, but it wasn't for me. It felt a little bit too cultish to me.
Yeah.
When I left that and went to work at the British. No, it was then after that I went to Columbia University, where I was for 9 or 10 years. And
Wow.
gradually I sort of came over to my heart, and everything was always on the psychic side of things, right from the top.
Right. Right.
Everything.
I was wondering, like, what was your early childhood like? And did you sense from a young age that you were perceiving the world differently?
Yeah, I think I did, but when you're in it, you don't know that you're different. It's just when all the other kids treated me so badly, and because I was different. Um, I do remember around the age of 7, um, saying to my mother, she had one of these women's magazines, and I saw an advertisement for a free astrology horoscope reading. And I said to my mum, "Can you send away for one of those for me?" And it said on the ad minimum age 18. So I was 7. So they
Oh
weren't
my
going to
goodness.
send that to me. But that was sort of my first inclination. Then as I got older, I used to go for readings, working up in London, and I'd see something and I'd go there, or I'd see something on the TV and I'd go there. And as I got a little bit older, I think in my late teens, early 20s, I came across this lady, and to this day, she's in my head as one of the best psychics I ever met. And she
Wow.
said I was coming to America and I'd work at a place with flags, and that was the UN. And I'd meet a young man from Yorkshire, which was still my best friend, Simon.
Wow. Wow.
Um, and just all of this other stuff. So she's sort of it goes down in my, I have one or two people, I think, from England I remembered as very good psychics. And I just always wanted to do this stuff. And so when I came to America, I think it was 2002, 2003, I went to a street fair and I got chatting to somebody, a woman, and I said how much I liked the psychic stuff and I wanted to do psychic work. And she said, "Well, if you talk to me later," she said, "I know a place where they actually do seances here in New York." And I said, "Oh, that's great." And that turned out to be Stephen Robinson and HSI.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So
And what year was that, by the way?
2003, and I called him. My friend Simon came with me. There were 2 other people. It was August. We went to his place, I think was on West 23rd and 7th. And I remember there were only 4 of us. And he said, "There aren't enough here for a class, aren't enough people." So I said, "Well, I got special permission to sort of get here earlier. If you do the class again, can you make it a Monday evening?" And he said, "Sure." So he rearranged the class, and there were a lot more people in September. We actually started, and it was 4 levels of psychic development, 10 weeks in each level. It was not done on the internet. It was face to face, which I personally prefer, I have to say.
I also want to show you, I still have the HSI certification from the certification program after all these years. Unbelievable.
And it as well, which is something I need to do.
Yeah, like as soon I have all the levels right here on my desk, and I'll just tell you real quick that as soon as I got them, I put them in a frame immediately. Like I went to CVS, bought a frame, and just put it in and hung it on my wall when I lived. Yeah, and that was back. Wow, like back since 2009, and until I took the whole like certification course. That was probably the most profound thing I've ever done. So I understand when people met Stephen Robinson, he really he systematized it, and he put this into a comprehensible learning experience.
Yes, he did. And there were 4 levels, I think, from what I gather. In latter years, there were 3 levels. He had a lot of weekend classes. But for me personally, I liked the 10-week sections, 1 night a week for 2 hours, step by step. It felt to me that you learned more. Then we did seance conductors class as well, certification. And we did exams. We were the early ones of us board certified, because we were certified by the American Board of Holistic Practitioners. And then I think that got disbanded. So he certified us with HSI instead. And I
remember that.
Did you take the exams in ethics of spirituality that we had to take?
I didn't, but I learned a lot about ethics in the course, but I did not get to take that. But I did take the seance conducting course, and to this day, like every once in a while, I'll conduct a seance, and it is amazing. I'll actually implement also ITC. So I'll just put like cat balls and things too. So people who are not familiar with it will see how spirit can interact with physical objects. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And Steve had me teach between 2013 to 2017. So 4 years of teaching. At that time, I was involved in a very, very big, nothing to do with any of this, but a huge New York lawsuit for age and religious discrimination that was all over the news, the papers, and, all the rest of it. So I was working a part-time job in the old stuff, the secretarial stuff. And this actually, having me teach, got me out of that part-time job. The lawsuit was amicably settled, and even though it took 5 or 6 years, and then went on to teaching, and then that was my entree from secretarial work over to the holistic side of things. It was a long transition, but at the end of the day, everything, as these things usually do, sort of fitted in time-wise. And, it was a little bit struggle financially at the beginning, but as time went on, it just got a little bit better. And so then, you find yourself in the holistic world and away from all of the secretarial type stuff. So.
Oh, one of the questions I did not write down, but I should be asking is, like the business side of it, like I guess once you bring holistic studies back, will there be classes for people who want to make this their living, for like business and how to, get readings and clientele, etc.?
I believe so. We're in the early stages. We've got an attorney. We're talking to the attorney about bringing everything back, how to do that, looking at, what to name it, the style of it, how we want to teach. I have made it very clear that I want to teach a class that's face to face because my computer skills are crap, and I couldn't, even if somebody showed me, it would be, well, it's just not my language. So face to face is good. The class I was teaching before was advanced trance and physical mediumship. And so each
Okay.
week was a different subject to do with advanced trance. We were talking to spirits in the room, and Jonathan, my boyfriend, who was sort of on the technical side of things, was doing all the taping and everything. We were hearing spirits coming back. We had a seance trumpet in the room that actually moved. We put a pen mark around it on a piece of white paper. And then when we finished the class, we saw it had moved over a couple of inches. So we put it out of the way so that no one would knock the table or anything, and it would move. So I know we had.
Yeah. This brings me to the physical part, like the physical mediumship questions I have for you.
Mhm.
With physical mediumship, it's rare and demanding, I can imagine.
Yes.
How did you first discover that that was part of your abilities?
I think a few of these things I discovered as I went along. I have always been one to meditate. I do my meditation, and when you meditate and you go under and you ask for help, that sort of it, kind of you usually get that help. Spirit hears you. Loved ones who passed away, you get that help. It's not for everyone because there is a loss of control. You don't see what, if you're a very sort of controlling person, it may be a bit scary, but it's not my best skill, but it's something I'm equipped to be able to teach. And again, this was a 10-week class. There was a different subject every week. Physical mediumship, writing, spirit writing we had. We had, God, there's so many I can't remember. There's 10 different things anyway, 10 different, trance and physical mediumship subjects. And I Steve sort of gave me carte blanche to put the class together in any way that I wanted to. It seemed to be a very popular class, and it was my emphasis was I didn't want people to just sit there and listen to me speak. I wanted to sort of equate it with some speaking and some actual practice, so that people would get a shot at everything and get an idea of what they wanted to do or how they wanted to proceed. So, we had people lying on the floor at one point, meditating and going under, and traveling. We had travel mediumship where they were traveling. Different things. I still have the curricula, and just a case of dusting it down and maybe putting together a few more exercises with it.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. And it's something that I personally would like to get into because generally it's something that has been happening around me a lot, believe it or not, like physical objects just disappearing or even fire. Like one time, I'll just give you a quick story. My sister came home and she was horrified because she just kept saying 666 and she was having all this crazy stuff happen. And apparently, it's a long story, but long story short, she was cursed. And I pulled some cards and the same card was coming out over and over again. It was the one where like the woman is crying and there's like swords above her head.
Swords, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what is going on? I know this is bad, but I don't remember what it is. And anyway, I remembered what it was. It was something to do with curses and stuff. And I know who did it. So we came back home And because we were out of the house, we came back home, and I began to like cleanse the space and start to try to help her. And all of a sudden, I felt like stabbing pains into my abdomen.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually fell backwards onto the couch. So we began singing the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. And on the third time, we had 2 candles lit, right? And the fire was like this big. At the end of the third time, or in the middle of the song, actually, the one on the left started snaking upward like this,
Wow.
and then went down. It stayed like that for like this big. It was pretty high up there, you know, it was very, very high. Then it went back down, and then the other one went straight up, no flickering at all whatsoever. And then at the end of the song, slowly went down. And I was like, I believe it's done, you
Yeah.
know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Scary. No, it's scary.
Yeah. And I wanted to know, like, is that a form of physical mediumship, or is that something else?
That sounds to me, only because I've had experience of it, as if somebody was sort of trying to interfere somewhere and put out some kind of dark energy. That's what that sounds like to me. And I've been on the end of that because, I've worked in Salem, Massachusetts, where, even though we're spiritualists, we've been welcomed and they've been very nice to us. But it's a place of witches and witchcraft. And I have been on the end of a few years ago, a couple of not such nice people, for whatever reason, who've tried to sort of, somebody gave me an apple and they said, oh, this is for you. Well, I'd watched her at her table doing something to the apple. And I thought, I'm not taking that apple because,
No, that sounds like something
no,
like from the
right,
Wicked Witch, like,
right.
like,
Um,
like Sleeping Beauty.
It's something similar to what you're talking about. There are people who will do that, put spells and things like that, work on you, maybe at night time. And, I've had to sort of like seen demons in my dreams a couple of times when I'm there. So you really have to protect yourself. I always tell people to protect yourself, put a white light around you, put a bubble of white light around you, and that way they can't enter because the good energy is better than the bad energy, obviously.
Yes, and it can be more powerful than
Right.
the negative. And I've seen firsthand just how powerful, positive,
Yeah.
beautiful light can be.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
We did remote viewing as well. That was on the tip of my tongue. We did remote viewing in the class as well. I remember Eugene had a really strong experience with remote viewing, I think it was. So he's the vice president of the church. So he's always talking about it, which is good.
oh, I see. Yeah. 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 I don't remember him. I don't recall him, but I may have met him once or twice. But back to the physical mediumship. Like, what were your early experiences with physical phenomena like, and how did you learn to stay grounded and safe while working in that way?
Well, I was introduced really to physical mediumship by Steve. It was interesting to me and fascinating. And after watching the trumpet move, I thought, and Steve said, would you like to teach this class? And I said, absolutely. So I sort of learned as I went along. It wasn't something that I specifically said beforehand, oh, yes, I have to do this. But once I started doing it and people were happy with the way it was going, with all the physical mediumship subjects, the remote viewing and the handwriting and, spirit handwriting and things, I saw that people were getting really good things out of it. It's one of those things where you think, oh, let's give this a go. I'm not sure if I'm going to be any good. And everyone was just, oh my goodness, what a great class. And did you see that? And did you see that move? And I thought, oh, well, maybe I can do this. That kind of feeling. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
was really good. And I tried to have as much variety as I could, which is why we had a different subject every week for 10 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, of course. And, a few other things happened as well with me, and I never even tried it. It just kind of occurred. Even when I was I was driving and I was thinking of a scene of a novel I'm writing, some romance novel. And, I was imagining a portal opening, and all of a sudden my phone fell and the clamp that was holding it was gone. And I thought it fell to the floor and it was dark. So I figured the next day I would look for it. And then the following day when I looked for it, it wasn't anywhere at all. I was looking at everything, looking under the seats, everything. And then all of a sudden, I drove down. I'm like, if this is a spirit, can I have it back? Because I need it. And then when I walked away, and then I went in to get a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, and I came out and it was there. And I was like, oh, no.
That sounds to me like somebody was trying to get your attention.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually thinking the character that I was thinking about was actually someone in the Revolutionary War named Major John Andre. And he's in my story.
Oh, wow.
So maybe it was him. I honestly don't know, but I assume it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's somebody who's trying to get your attention. Somebody who heard you speak, because that's what I've been told is when you speak to spirit, you have to speak out aloud to them because that's the only way they hear you properly.
Oh.
So maybe they were trying to say to you, by taking the thing, I'm here. And then when you said, can I have it back? You got it back.
Yeah. It wasn't malicious because it gave it back.
No.
That's got to be. Now, is that a form of some physical mediumship? Is that an asport and an apport?
Yes, but it's also spirit, I think, playing a little bit of a game with you too. I mean, I would be inclined to think that maybe this was a loved one of yours who passed away, a grandmother or somebody like that who wanted to show you they were still around, that kind of thing.
Well, I was in contact at that time with this spirit on and off.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do believe it was possibly him.
Yeah. Then it probably was.
That's amazing.
If you're talking to him, and you're getting an answer, then that's fair enough. That's reasonable.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So here's another question for you. Mm-hmm. How does physical this is for the audience. How does physical mediumship differ emotionally and energetically from mental mediumship for you?
Well, for me, I do see myself probably as a little bit more of a mental medium. I'm clairvoyant and clairaudient, so I see as well. The physical mediumship tends to be things that people can see. As with, we had, just trying to think, one of the classes we had with about 10 or 12 students, and we went around the room and we asked everybody one by one, who would you like to connect with? And they would ask for their aunt or their grandmother or whatever. And Jonathan was taping the circle. And one of them, a guy called Kenny, he asked to speak to his grandmother, and we heard singing. And it was taped, and we heard the singing. And Kenny said, that's my grandmother. She used to sing to me when I was a child growing up, and that's the song she used to sing, and I can't remember what it was. But the interesting thing, I suppose you can say, is apart from the fact everybody in the room heard it, which is sort of an answer to your question, about 6 months after that class, the guy, Kenny, he passed away, had cancer, and I don't think he knew at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
So we think, looking back, that maybe his grandmother was sort of on a different sort of plane, coming to meet him, coming down to let him know that she was there. He was a lovely, lovely person. But that was the strongest evidence we got in the class, other than the trumpet moving. I'm just trying to think, because it was 15 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. But everybody got something out of it, and that's the main thing. Everybody got something out of it. And,
yes.
yeah, so that was obviously very, very sad. But that's physical mediumship.
Mm.
I'm much more of a mental medium. I always have been. My mediumship was stronger than I thought it was right from the beginning.
Wow.
And I developed the clairaudience and the clairvoyance. The clairvoyance I developed. The clairaudience was the last thing to arrive.
Wow.
We have 8 clairs each, something like that.
Yeah, 5. I remember learning it was clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairgustance, which is taste, clairscent, smell, and
more I know, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's more. People make more ideas up, but those are the general ones I remember. But what about, like, was there a particular event or a reading or experience that confirmed for you that spirit communication was real and ongoing?
Yes. I talked to my mother. My mother has been passed since 2016. I speak to her out aloud. I've had several confirmations that she's been there, including 2 strong ones. One, I was asleep and my head was at the footboard because I'm under the air conditioner. It must have been summer. And I woke up from just a very strong dream, and I heard my mother behind me say something to me that didn't really make much sense until about 6 months later. She said, they want you back temporarily. And I knew what she was talking about. I had a part-time job while I was waiting for the end of the lawsuit, and then the lawsuit was settled and I still kept the part-time job, and I should have probably quit it before I did. And there was a bad situation where I had to run out of there really quickly. And yeah, it was just not good. And that was my mum saying to me, they want you back. They want you back temporarily. It turned out, I spoke to my former co-worker the next day, and she asked if I would go back. And I said, no, I'm doing the psychic stuff now. And the person for whom I had been working and would have been going back to, I think he lasted about another 6 or 8 months, and then he passed away. So that would have been the temporary thing.
Wow, incredible. And by the way, I just want to let you know that as you were speaking about your mother, and I believe I have this on video, there was an orb that flew right behind you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She's wonderful. My mother is wonderful. She is so helpful. As Stephen Robinson always used to say, this psychic work is very cyclical. It comes in, it's strong, then it doesn't, and there's times of the year. But I remember a few months ago, everything had just gone completely quiet. And bearing in mind that I'm not great with social media, I didn't know how to sort of get out there and sort of get my work. So I said a prayer to her out aloud, and I said, Mum, can you please bring me in some more readings? I don't want to have to go and work at Amazon. And
yes.
About an hour later, the phone went, and it was a woman. She said, you won't remember me. She said, you read for me about 15 years ago. She said, I was compelled to call you. And I said, oh, okay. She said, I'd like a book an hour reading. So I said, okay, fine. I said, all right, so what's your name? I'm going to write this down. She said, Kathleen. And Kathleen is my mother's name.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
what a confirmation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
She's very very Gemini, my mum, very chatty and, you know.
Oh, that's so sweet. And it's wonderful to know that we have so much support from the spirit world and from
Really.
the divine light, divine guidance, and God, the creator. And I've had so many also amazing experiences. I'm not going to go into it, but it is really like so many things have shown me that this is real.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
it's incredible. Like, did you resist the call at first or did you accept it quickly? Like, how did this
No,
come
it's just
about?
like, you know, I started here, I think quite late, really. In 2003, I was 46 years old and I graduated as a minister. I finished all the, you know, it wasn't actually ordained, but I finished all the work a week before my 50th birthday. And then I was ordained, I think it was in October. So I started very, very late. I did do some work in the UK, but not to this degree. And it was stupid because I know in England, Arthur Findlay College of Spiritualism is a really big deal, but it never sort of occurred to me, you know, that I could sort of do this. As Steve said, you know, you think that you have to sort of you don't think that you can be trained as a psychic. You think you're either psychic or you're not. And I thought, you know, I'm not psychic because I don't know what to do. But even Picasso took art classes, so you know, it's you have to learn, and you have to learn the right way. I jokingly say sometimes that there are a lot of conveyor belt psychics, people who've taken a 6-week class and set up a shingle. And I'm sure there are some good ones, but unless you sort of deal with the ethics and you know what you're doing, it becomes, I think, problematic. You know, I can't just do it for the money. I keep my rates on the low end of average for New York. Even though
Mm,
I've had all the TV appearances and everything, I know other people who've sort of upped their rates, but no, I kept them the same. Um,
right.
because the idea is to help people, not fleece people.
What would you say, ethically wise, excuse me, what would you say ethically wise is what you live by when you do this kind of work?
I would say I need to keep a balance between um, being truthful with people and being compassionate. And that's the thing that causes me a little bit of an issue because I'm very straightforward. And if I see somebody sort of being treated badly by their boyfriend or, you know, I have to say something because, you know, I don't want to say, oh, yes, it's great and he loves you very much and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know, they're going to come back to me in 6 months and say, what happened? You know?
That's right. That's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's always striking a balance. That's
Right.
the thing that I think it's an ethical thing to do. I also occasionally, usually around my mother's birthday, I try to donate 2 or 3 free readings. I put it out there as a sort of a lottery and then write the names on pieces of paper. And my boyfriend, you know, just put it in a big jug and he sticks his hand in there, picks a couple of names. Um, so we give out 1 or 2 free readings in my mother's honor.
Wow.
My father's side of, you know, they're much more psychic than my mother's side, but my father does not believe in any of this at all, except he couldn't explain to me why back in June on my birthday, in his house, which is near Windsor, he was watching TV and he watched a white cat walk across the lounge and straight through the wall. But he couldn't explain to me. He said he went and pulled the chairs and he's
Oh
looking
my.
for the cat.
Oh, yes. I love the ghost cats. I've
It was
had,
my mum. That was my mum because
it's your
there
mother.
are 2 pictures on the wall of my mother with with her 3 cats, which passed away over a period of time. And that was my mum saying, you know, there's a cat, a white cat.
Wow. That's
So
amazing. Oh my goodness. Like, okay. Okay, let's see. I have a few questions
yeah,
still. Like, my goodness. That just blew my mind a little
you
bit. Yeah, and when did that happen?
that was my birthday's June 27th, and it was on my birthday. I
Oh,
think that was a message from my mom to
yeah.
me, wishing me happy birthday, but dealing with my dad at the same time, because how do you explain that?
I don't know. There was one time when I was in Salem and I woke up and I was staying at a bed and breakfast and I looked over to my left and there was a cat facing the wall. And I said,
Oh,
"Oh, hello, kitty." It was like a striped cat,
yeah.
like a tabby, maybe not a tabby cat, but you know, kind of like stripes, like a little bit of like a tiger. And all of a sudden, as I'm blinking, this cat disappears right before my eyes, like dematerializes in front of me. And I was like, okay, that has to be a ghost cat. So I went downstairs and I spoke to the owner of the house and I asked her, "Is there a ghost cat here?" And she and her helper looked at each other and they're like, "Why do you ask that?" And I said, "Well, I woke up and I saw a cat with stripes and it was facing the wall." And I said, "Hello, kitty." And it disappeared. And they said, "Oh, yeah, that's our cat." That's-
Because, you know, they always come to a psychic person because you can do them justice, because you can see it and confirm. So that's why the
yes.
cat came to you. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. That was the only time that ever happened to me. But yeah.
It's
Um,
going to happen. It's going to be in Salem.
oh
So
my gosh. And I totally want to come out next year with you to Salem. I have to figure everything out, but it's been a
come out,
while.
come out to work for the month. I can definitely put you forward if you'd like. I mean, it gets very crazy, and finding accommodation is kind of a little rarer than unicorn eggs. But
Oh,
if you start early, should be able to find somewhere.
I will try. I will try and I will talk to my boyfriend about it. Is there a possibility that I could bring my cats with me? Because if I'm there for the month, I would probably have to do that.
I don't know. Is
Mm.
I
I
don't
might
know.
have to look into Airbnb around there.
Yeah, yeah. I think most people do something like Airbnb. It used to be a lot easier before Airbnb and Virgo and Verbo and all those things. Um, and I stay with a friend, the same friend every year, and walk to work and back again because that's the only exercise I get. But you can set your own schedule 4 or 5 days a week. You don't have to do crazy. So I used to do 6 days a week. I couldn't do that anymore. And it's good.
Oof, yeah.
It's interesting. You find clients, but it's very taxing work.
Yeah,
I'm getting older, and it's not as easy as it used to be. Obviously,
right. And I have been very curious. I remember you were mentioning your ancestor. What's his name?
Lord North, Lord
Lord
Frederick,
North.
yeah, Lord Frederick.
Richard North. Has he ever come in and spoken to you before in a séance or?
No, I haven't. He hasn't come through, and I don't know why not. I get mostly my mother, my grandparents, those relatives. My mother had 8 brothers and sisters. I think there are only 2 left. So I do get visits occasionally from the brothers and sisters who have gone. Um, but yeah, no, I haven't had Lord North hasn't come through. Not yet.
I'm going to say to Lord North right now, Lord North, Lord Richard North, your
It's
great,
Frederick,
great,
it's
great,
Frederick.
great, 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 whatever granddaughter is right in front of me right now, and she wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
uh, we would love to hear your side of the story.
Yeah. Well, You know, there was, I think it was his daughter or maybe his granddaughter, Annie Messenger, her name was Priscilla Ann Messenger. So she was my grandfather's mother. And she's the one who I get the psychic abilities from too, because she used to live in Belgravia in London. And
Wow.
she used to have seances in her flat in London.
Oh my goodness, it's totally in the family.
Oh, yeah, and she left a list of books. I've still got them somewhere because my mum wrote it out and sent it to me. Books to be read, and they're all sort of spiritualist books and things.
Yeah, what's that book called? Do you know?
There were a whole list of different books, and I'm
Oh,
ashamed to say I haven't really had time to sort of look through it properly. And maybe I'm sure some of the books we used when we were learning way back.
mm,
But yeah, she used to have seances in Belgravia in London. So
wow.
kind of interesting.
And that was his daughter.
Um, I think it was his granddaughter. You know, it goes back 4 or 5
Granddaughter.
generations because Lord North lived in the late 1700s.
Right.
I think I want to say 1760 something. And that was, I think that might have been his granddaughter. That was my grandfather, on my dad's side, my grandfather's mother, Priscilla Ann Messenger.
Wow.
I only learnt about that in the last few years before my mum passed away.
That's
So
incredible.
they've left lists and, you know, books to be read and things. So I guess I should at some point tackle the list and take a look and see what there is.
Oh, 100%. That's amazing that you know of your ancestor or someone in your family from way back when who did this, just like you are. And now I'm doing it with you. And I don't know, I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't think I have a very, very big family, you know, 9 brothers and sisters my mother had. My father had 3 or 4. I think one of them is doing something out in Australia, but nobody's really sort of doing the psychic work per se. And my astrologer said to me, there will be another one. He said, one of your brother's 2 children, and he's got a boy and a girl, but they're older now, they're in their 30s, and one of them will have a daughter who will be psychic.
Amazing. Amazing. By the way, I recently found this out. Now, I'm not saying that I'm directly related to this person,
Right.
but I found out that my grandmother, before she married my grandfather, was Mary Crowley. That
Oh,
name, I was
yeah.
like, now I'm not into the satanic anything or darkness or anything, but um, there was another psychic medium who told me that from my father's side is the lineage of the psychic mediumship.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I
Yeah.
found out her name was Crowley, maybe it has something to do with that
The cards,
name.
some of the tarot cards were designed by Crowley, Aleister Crowley, and
Wow.
the name Mary does ring a bell. So have a look at, because I think it's tarot cards are just for Aleister Crowley.
Ooh,
Yes,
wow.
Crowley.
Yeah, there's some kind of link. I just don't know what. And obviously, like, I'm not into the darkness part, but
I don't
I'm,
think it's that dark. I think if you Google Mary Crowley, um, and see if Mary Crowley is attached to Aleister Crowley, which I think they probably are,
hmm.
you'll see it's to do with cards, tarot cards, designing cards or putting tarot cards together in some way. Does that name rings a
Hmm. I'll have to look into that. Thank you.
bell?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I should have done that before. Actually, we have Google.
No, but what we don't have is time, all of us, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, here's another thing about like responsibility and legacy. What responsibility do you believe comes from being a medium, especially in today's world?
Um, so the first thing is there is a moral obligation always to do the right thing. I hear time and time again of people preying on vulnerable people and making up stuff for money. And it really is, it's a moral responsibility and a duty to do the right thing. I can sit and say I'm board certified in the ethics, but if I don't treat people in an ethical manner, it doesn't mean anything. Even the paper it's written on, it doesn't mean anything. So that's the first thing, is to make sure that you have
Mm,
training,
oh,
make
oh,
sure that you.
ho- I'm sorry, I lost you for a minute. So go
Okay.
ahead. Make sure you have
Make sure
training.
you have training. Make sure that you have a good school behind you, that it's an accredited school. Um, Make sure that you take exams and tests and all of those things. And again, just make sure you do the right thing. You have a moral responsibility. I know people make fun of psychics and things are changing, but there are, as I said, there's so many. I don't want to sort of get into the good ones and the bad ones, but there's so many psychics out there that give the thing a bad name that you can't blame people for, um, laughing and joking and making fun. The good ones and the bad ones will be blended in together in people's minds. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes.
It really is. It's just, I always say to people when I hear that something's happened or they've gone to this person, they got robbed or whatever, go to the police, make a report.
What would you say, going off of that, like, what are some examples that you want to do a report, um, if somebody did something? A psychic, if they're doing something that's not ethical or illegal, for instance, what would people, what should they look for when it comes to
Licensed,
that?
licensed psychics, reviews, recommendations from friends. Um, what we don't want is somebody who plays on the vulnerabilities of people, who comes to you and sort of sees your vulnerabilities and plays on that. We want somebody who's going to be honest and truthful and ethical. And I know that's a very old fashioned word, but I don't know of one that's better. If you can't do it, you say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Here's your money back.
Right. And also, I remember learning in Holistic Studies Institute.
Yeah.
Um, I remember Stephen Robinson talking about how he knew someone who had been very burned by some false psychic medium, where
Yes.
this person had her come in and then told her she had a an attachment to
Oh,
her
yeah.
aura, right?
Yeah.
And she had to do all these things and pay all this money
Crazy.
to get this thing removed. And then she had to buy a few $1,000s worth of a tabernacle and then put the thing in the tabernacle. Like, these are horrendous.
These are the things I'm talking about, and they'll start you small, and if they can get away with it, they'll have you come back, and then we go to the next step up, and the more vulnerable you are, the more they'll play on that vulnerability until they've milked you dry. And I just think it's disgusting. I really do.
Me too. It is
Terrible.
absolutely horrible. I remember listening to that and being like, okay, definitely never, ever, ever. If somebody says something like that, report to the police immediately. Are there
Yeah.
any other examples to look out for?
Well, there are other ones I've heard of, who will say, I want you to boil some eggs, put them under your mattress. I'm just sort of, because I remember this as an example. Boil these eggs, here are these eggs, boil them, put them under your mattress, And if you open them and they're all black, it shows that you have a spirit, a bad spirit, a bad omen. What they didn't say was the eggs are old and bad anyway. You just don't know that because the eggs have to be kept whole. They're boiled and they're still black inside, but when you open them, they're black or they're green and they're poison. And they're just old eggs. It's got nothing to do with you've got a spirit or an attachment or any of that stuff. But I've heard people being taken
Wow.
advantage of that way.
Yes, yes.
So
It's insane. Wow. That's enough. It's just physics.
it really is. I would love to see every psychic in America licensed. I would love to see everybody licensed. And there must be a way to do that in Salem when you go to work. You have to pay a license fee and you're not
Oh.
time you're there, which I think is really, really good.
Oh, wow. So how do you go about getting a license?
Well, they do it for you. I think you have to pay, I'm just trying to think. I think it's $50
Mm-hmm.
and they get a license for you, but you don't have to keep paying that every year. If you go back and you've already been, they just, it's ongoing. Now, there
Oh,
used to be very few licenses, very few. Sorry, I thought I'd turn this off.
no, it's okay.
Um, I, I only paid the one license fee, and yeah, I haven't had to pay it again since then. But $50 used to be a lot less licenses than there are now. But every store now has psychics. At one point, only one or two stores in Salem had psychics, and it was very, very busy. It also used to be a lot busier towards the middle and the end of October. Now it starts from day one.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into doing that too. Would love to work out there with you and
You
see
just
you.
let me know and I can make the introductions and to introduce you to Kaylin, and she's lovely.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
she'll, explain to you what's what, and then you can decide, about accommodation, maybe share with the other psychics. Around July time, they get you to fill out the online paperwork, and ask you if you're looking to share with another psychic, those kind of things. So,
Wow.
it's a process.
Yes. Yeah. It sounds amazing. That sounds like a great time too.
Yeah. It's always been very busy. Then I come back, and then it's usually a little bit quiet. I have an office in Midtown, 55th and 6th Avenue,
Wow.
and so I have some clients who only want to come and see me. They're not interested in doing, you know, anything online, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I keep office space for people. I have a nice office.
That's
Uh,
great. I should come visit.
You should. You really should. It's very. I think you'd be very impressed. It's painted purple with a gold mirror. Purple, gold, and black is my office.
Ooh, I love that. That is so mystical.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think.
that's actually why I have like, oh, well, this thing shut off. Hold on. Let me just turn it back on. There we go. I kind of created like a little Zen space in here just
Yeah,
for this.
that's good.
But you know what? I guess um for people who are just beginning to realize they may have abilities,
Yes,
what advice would you give to them?
I would say to them, number one, the most important thing is be open-minded. Start from the beginning and work your way through. Don't do this conveyor belt psychic thing and rush through in 6 weeks. It's if you do it the right way and come from a good accredited school and you've done all of your work, people will pay more attention to you. There are very few board certified psychics. In fact, some people have said to me, I've never heard of board certified psychics before. And Stephen made sure that we were taken seriously and we did the right thing. He did.
Amazing. Amazing. And he was a great teacher.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I believe so. I hope we did him justice when he passed away. We did the service with
Oh my goodness. I
with
wish I was there.
help.
Oh,
Yeah, but Annalise's help with the service and Nilsa.
wow. Yeah. I only just found out about his passing a year later because I looked him up and I was like, I wonder if I can take some classes. And I
Yeah,
looked him up and I was like, oh my goodness,
yeah,
no. What in the heck?
yeah.
Oh, but
Very unexpected, very out of the blue.
yeah.
And yeah, it was a good day to come together to do a memorial service. We did it close to Stephen's birthday, and Stephen's birthday was 2 days after mine. I'm June 27, he was June 29.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
we did that and did the best we could, tried to give him a really good send-off.
Yeah. That's lovely. I'm sure he was very happy with it.
I hope so, I really do.
Yeah.
And we have to now see if we can try to emulate what he did, how he did it, with those ethics
Hmm.
and morals, and make sure that the school stands out as one that people can take seriously and they can work through. And I'll just give you another example. My boyfriend is a technical person,
Hmm.
Jonathan. He's a computer person. And when I was teaching, I bought him a couple of psychic development classes because I wanted him to see what I did. So we did. I bought him 2 or 3 weeks and he loved it. So we kept going with it and he loved it. He really loved it. And he graduated after a couple of years taking psychic development classes. And then we were going to do the ministry. And of his own volition, he signed up for the ministry and completed the ministry and became ordained in 2017, I think it was.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's extraordinary.
yeah.
Wow. You know, um, let's see if I have anything else. I I guess I guess that's it for today. Oh, what about how can people find you? And I'll be sure to
Oh,
put
yeah.
like your website up and everything.
Thank you. Yes, that's www.thebritishpsychic.com. And my cell phone is 917-621-5580. And my email address is mhedger374. So that's MHEDGER374 @ AOL.com. And hopefully, once I've got my act together, there'll be a few more social media handles and things, but just not at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. And if anybody would like to book a reading with Marion Hedger, you know where to find her. Let me say that again. um, for anyone who wants to book a reading with Marion Hedger, the British psychic, you know where to find her.
Yep, that's right. And you can come and see me. We can do remote. WhatsApp is my favorite because it's the least complicated. And I'm just getting my head around Teams. So
Wonderful.
eventually.
Yes, yes. And I guess I guess I'll do the outro. I want to extend my deepest thanks to Marion Hedger for sharing her time, her wisdom, and her lived experience with such honesty and integrity.
Thank
You're
you. It's really good to see you after all this time. You haven't changed at all.
Thank you. It's been a while, but we're still going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you look great. And as I remember you, and yeah, we had fun. Those were fun days. They really were.
I remember just before before I finish that other thing, I just remember when I first met you and I went to my first seance ever. Like, the Thursday night seances that used to happen.
Right.
And I remember there was like a group of people going to sushi and a group of people going to Starbucks. And I chose to go to Starbucks. And this is where so many amazing people were, what was her name? Deborah? Was it Deborah?
The bush.
Yes. What was it? Heltebush?
Also bush. Yeah, we do seances twice a month through Salem, through the Salem people. And
Wow.
we have another seance on Friday the 16th.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
so, we do those once or twice a month when we can.
Wow. And that's in Salem?
Well, it's online. It's through the Salem people. They were the ones who set it up. Christian Day, who
Oh.
runs Salem psychically, he asked us to do these online seances. We've been doing them once or twice a month when we can.
Oh my goodness. Please send me the details for that. I would love to join.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That would be incredible.
it's really something. And it's on Facebook. I think we put it on Facebook. There should be a link for it on there somewhere.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
my computer skills are not great, so I know I'm not putting things where I need to put them.
Yes, I understand. But if you can find it, send it my way. I will definitely join. I want to be a part of it. I have like no people around me anymore. Like people have moved away to like
Yeah.
Costa Rica and Virginia, and everyone I knew it's like kind of weird. But by the way, let me just go back into this. So I want to extend my deepest thanks to Marion Hedger for sharing her time, her wisdom, and her lived experience with such honesty and integrity. And your work, rooted in discipline, ethics, and genuine devotion to spirit, reminds us that the path is not about spectacle, but about responsibility.
Thank you. I couldn't have put it better. It's perfect.
Yes, and as a teacher, a medium, and a steward of true development, you continue to set a standard that matters deeply, especially now. So thank you. Thank you for your knowledge that you've shared today.
Thank you for inviting me, Rosemary. It's really been really good, and I'll dig out that link for you if I can find it and send it to you.
Yes, thank you. And the doors you've opened and the legacy you continue to build, it's incredible. It has truly been an honor.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Of course. So I guess I will end the recording now. Love and light, everyone. Here, let me try doing this.
Yeah.
Love and light.
It's similar. Thank you.